This video chart presentation of the Active Network. It's a New York Stock Exchange listed company trading our ticker ACTV. Going to wrap the week up with a true bottom play. See over the course of this 9-month chart, stocks dropped from around $15 all the way down to around $4. A little bit of a bounce going on. Last 3 days have been green days. See the RSI starting to move upward, showing a little bit of momentum's coming into the play. I want to talk about kind of the grander scheme here. MACD, since the beginning part of 2013, certainly has put together a little downward trend, but going back to November where the stock took a big dive, MACD's actually been uptrending while the price per share has been downtrending. And that type of positive divergence I always look for, potentially signal a bottom. I also see the histogram bars trending upward. Just popped through zero, a bullish cross happened to the 12 passing through the 26 EMA. Coming off a pretty tight PPO ADX pinch. Back in that similar type of reversal position right now with the negative DI up on top, positive DI on the bottom. Again, it's a good position for a long-term reversal. Now, I'm not getting a whole lot from the MFI, still down below 50, but certainly moving upward. I'll look for that break of 50 and for the money flow index to be over top that level to show that people are paying higher prices for the stock. It's a much more bullish position, obviously. Accumulation distribution, it's not in that terrible of a position. Little bit of a downtrend, but kind of holding the channel over the last few months. Just tells me that there hasn't been any massive selling. Going along with that's shaking money flow, making higher lows, certainly in the near term, trending back towards zero quickly. Hadn't spent a whole lot of time above that mark. In the green means that buying pressure has been outweighing selling pressure over a 20-day period. But again, that's moving in the right direction. CCI, climbing back upward as well. Just now broke through negative 100. That's a spot bottom. Feeders will use as a buy signal. It'd be a hold unless it broke back down through negative 100. Again, seeing some pretty similar patterns. Higher lows being made in the indicators. Full stow coming out of oversold territory, showing that a little bit of bullish momentum is building in the chart. And the tracks the MACD a lot of times to gauge a trend as well. That's what I'd be looking for. This higher low to be made, and ultimately a break back through zero to have the chart take on a much more bullish trend. As I mentioned, RSIs climbing over the last couple weeks. As with other indicators, we'll be looking for that break of 50 and for a trend to hold above that mark to show bullish momentum is being sustained in the play. Regarding support and resistance, bottom support there at $3.89. That's where I'd have stop losses. I'd look for some resistance to come into play right around $4.50. Now with it closing at $4.16, it's not a bad little upside just to go test that resistance point, just a little bit less than 10%. And if it breaks through that, then it'll be challenging the 50-day moving average, and it's certainly going to meet some more resistance right up around this $5.25 mark. Probably a little bit there at $5 with those old highs off that little bounce. But I'd expect it to pick up around $5.25. Which will be a key point, try and push through the 50-day. And that's going to be some pretty heavy resistance right there as well from a static standpoint. And of course, beyond that, we're looking at the old highs up around $6.30, and just still a huge gap to fill up to $8.50. I'm not looking for any of that tomorrow. Even if this does reverse course, identifies this mark as a true bottom and starts to trend upward, it would be several months, I'd imagine, unless there was some incredible news before it could even come back up to those levels. I try and stay near-term focused, and that means holding this bottom support level and seeing how it reacts if it can break through this 450 mark and certainly that 50-day moving average to give overall signs this chart's going to try and go into an uptrend and break this downward trend that's been in for quite some time. A little bit of a lighter volume play, 332,000 shares traded. I'd like to see increases in volume, show people are seeing it as a buying opportunity. But that 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 mark is a pretty average level for it. While it's not the greatest amount, that's not a bad amount of liquidity in the play either. So I'll just wrap this week up with this bottom play. Keep an eye out next week and going forward and see how it performs. But as always, it's merely my interpretation of the ACTV chart. Thank you for watching and trade smart.